Hilton.
I think it's under speakers on that little top actions, motions, votes, speakers. Click on that. Harjo, thank you for the presentation. This is probably not coming as a surprise. I usually bring this up. The dispatcher's need assessment from 2016 stated a minimum dispatcher staffing of 3%. The fire department standards of coverage from 2019 showed the need for a dedicated fire dispatcher, whether that's through training for a dual role or a contract with the county. My question is, does staff still feel that we have an adequate public safety dispatcher coverage with increased calls for service and need for both police and fire? And can we handle a police officer or firefighter down and at the same time the regular calls of service when the system is stressed?
Who? I don't know if anybody needs to, yeah, that's not what's on our agenda, but I'll leave it to Jimmy to.
Sure. Well, I'll have Chief Wyatt answer that question, but I will point out that I've never, in the 7 years I've been with Gilroy, seen a study that didn't say we needed staffing in every study we have. So I think if I could help with the question a bit, I'd ask Chief Wyatt to answer your questions about what happens when we have shortages. What are we doing to try to ensure that we're recruiting and retaining dispatchers, and really any other position, because we don't have a higher turnover or a higher vacancy rate in dispatchers than we do in any other position. So we're always forced to triage or to adjust what we're doing to make sure that the day-to-day work gets done. But I'll let Chief Wyatt answer that, and I can also have our HR director Leanne jump into if she could add anything.
So I'll just say that under normal conditions, our dispatchers, and there's typically two that answer the calls and do the dispatching for both police and fire, are able to handle the call volume. However, when we see on some incidents where the weather gets worse, or where we have a greater need for a particular day, yes, the dispatchers can get overwhelmed. It is an issue that, from the fire department's perspective, we have dispatchers who are not specifically trained for fire dispatching, although they do get some training to our protocols. The ideal candidate for dispatching for the fire service in particular is one who's been trained on handling multiple alarms, being able to handle a sudden call out of or call for resources. And right now our current dispatching doesn't have that specialized training. I'm not sure if I'm answering the questions in particular, but I'm trying to give you an overview.
Yes, thank
just
you.
to give you I'm sorry, just one more point, just to give you a point of when the study was done in 2016, we've had a 40% increase in call volume. So it's obvious that as the city continues to grow, that there is a need, just like I say over and over again, for fire service in general, for the service, the ability of our resources to meet the service that's needed.
You're saying fire service, but you mean medical call service, right? That's the increase.
No, it's actually, we had a 40% increase in fire and EMS.
Right.
So it's been across the board.
Okay, thank you. Do you want Leanne to say anything, or? Okay. Okay, seeing no other council members wanting to speak, I'm going to open the public comment.
I have no speaker cards, Madam Mayor.
Okay, closing public comment. So again, council, this is to receive the mid-year report update. The only action item is approving the one position, the permit technician. So.
Motion to accept.
Second.
To accept the report?
Yeah.
And separately for adopt the resolution?
You can do it together.
Okay, is the motion also to adopt the resolution updating for the one position?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilmember Armendariz, seconded by Councilmember Tovar.
I have a discussion, a friendly amendment to that I'd like to bring up. So I'm still concerned about going back to the budget, about the increased overtime and the mental health and stress that puts on the fire department. Last year during the mid-year in March, they were at 66% of budget, and that was due to overtime and staffing. Last September, we added $500,000 to soften that. So this March, they're at 52%. I still think we haven't solved the root cause of those vacancies that are there. So my friendly amendment would be, and this is obviously if you guys would agree to it, it'd be a request to Jimmy. And if you want to do this separate from this, that's fine. But I've been getting emails, I don't know if the rest of you are getting emails from residents that live in the Santa Teresa Fire District. And they're saying that sometimes they feel like they're not getting the coverage that we've promised to them, along with good response times. And I don't have an answer back to them, whether that's true or not. It's how someone feels. I'd like to see a report back on the average response times into that district, along with the number of days that the 12-hour Santa Teresa unit has been in service since it's been implemented. And if I can offer any clarity to that, let me know. But I think it's a report that could be brought back just on council correspondence in the future. But it's something that's being requested, and I do not know how to answer it.
Does it need to be part of the motion, Jimmy?
I think it belongs as a future agenda item request, because that's not what that is not what this agenda item is. And when we look at staffing, we look at staffing for all departments, not just fire. So it certainly is something to address at the strategic planning meeting, but it is not part of this agenda item, which is simply a report on the mid-year budget, which is something we've already approved.
I really agree that we have to push at the strategic plan meeting, because Friday's fire was in the Santa Teresa area and it was closed. So we have to do something about it, because as our population is growing, our coverage of service is not. And we have to do something.
Yes, and as you
Soon,
know, that's a
so
big report that
Saturday.
we did a few years ago, so that's why I say that's
And it
not
needs to
just
be-
a little
Right, it
thing.
needs to be updated, and Saturday we need to push
Yeah,
it.
with response times and everything that comes to us.
And then,
So-
and it goes back to the staffing. We were talking about the position control. We're getting a mid-year budget update. You know, but one of the reasons why we're not seeing the fire's budget at 66% because they have no staffing and they're mandatorying at all their ranks is because we just added $500,000 to the budget in September. So it doesn't look as bad. But I'm telling you, if you talk to them, and even with the police officers, if you talk to them right now, staffing levels, it's even though we put in recruitment and retention into the MOU, it's not working.
Not
There is
disagreeing.
I still believe that there is a problem in there. So that's why I believe that this is tied back. It's a simple request. I don't want to have to wait 2 weeks for it. If the majority of the council agrees, I think it's something super small that can just be added in there. It could be a direction to staff to come back. It's not any normal stats that would come in, but to me, it ties directly back to this budget and why we're spending so much money on overtime.
I agree, council member. I think that it merits, the staff time and us discussing it. So I'll accept that friendly amendment if the motioner will as well, the second motion.
So as a friendly amendment, it would have to be accepted by the person who made the motion and the person who seconded it.
Yeah, we both have.
They did. So we are being asked to vote on something that is not on our agenda. Is that it? I don't understand.
Well, you're being asked to vote on something that is on the agenda with a modification to bring back a report on something. It doesn't change
So
the
the
actual position.
resolution is adopting a resolution.
The resolution is being adopted, as I understand the motion, as is. The first item, receive the report, would be receive the report with a certain direction to staff.
Is that how you?
I would like to, if it's okay,
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd like to make an attempt to try to simplify this, so it's obviously a conversation you want to have. We can come on Saturday during your strategic planning and give you a verbal report about the response times in the Santa Teresa area, because we're going to be talking about strategic planning and priorities and what's going on out there, because we have had money funded for a fire station. We haven't been able to build the permit, so we're going to talk about that anyway. And then if there's an action item from that strategic planning, then we can dig deeper. But I'd like to have the initial conversation to address some of the questions that Councilmember Hilton brought up, like what's going on with response times out there? Why is this happening this way? And I think we could help on Saturday with just the cursory conversation and see where that goes.
I'll withdraw my friendly. Thank you. That was a good conversation to have. That
Okay.
needed to be had during that
Friendly
moment.
amendment is officially unamended.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rejected. We're not friends.
Okay, so now it's to receive the budget update